Welcome to Johnny's World.
Hi, welcome back to Johnny's World. Let's take a backyard tour of my different varieties of avocado trees. Well, first up is my Fuerte in this 15-gallon, and this Fuerte is getting really big, so I think it's probably time to transplant this into to my avocado grove, but this is looking good. Now here's my Hass avocado tree in a 15-gallon. Now this has struggled greatly during the heat wave during the summer, and it got burnt up, and the leader here it just got burnt, so I had to cut it. But you know, it's doing pretty well now, flushing out new growth, and I've used this tree quite well. I've cut a lot of branches off this tree to use as scion wood to graft onto other trees, so it's been a very useful tree. I don't really know what I'm gonna do with this Hass, if I'm gonna just grow it out since it's flushing out new growth, or I may just treat this as a Frankenstein tree and graft other varieties onto this tree. I haven't really decided, but it is flushing out new growth. It is looking quite good. Now here's a gem avocado that I planted in the ground not too long ago, if you watched my prior video, and as you can see, it's doing really well. It's looking green, and I think it's very happy, and I planted this in a mound, as you can see, and the gem seems like it's doing very well. It looks very green, and hopefully it'll grow into a nice fruit producing tree in the future. But yeah, but it seems like it's doing well on the ground so far. Now let's go down to my avocado grove. So this is the trail I take down to my avocado grove, and there's my avocado grove, and it's always peaceful walking down my trail. Now the cool thing about my backyard is it is on a hillside, but the property line does go all the way to the flat area down there, and as you can see, it's all mountainous areas, and another cool thing is my house is the only house that has access down there. All my neighbors, they don't really have access down there, so it's almost like I have a private mountain to myself. And you know, I practice my archery down there too, and as you can see, there's a lot of tree covering, so I have a lot of privacy. Sometimes I'll shoot shoot my bow, my compound bow, for an hour down there, and I just have a lot. It's just very peaceful down there. I get to do my archery and you know, have my privacy and just think, and it's very peaceful down there. Anyways, we're here at my avocado grove, and here's the avocado seedling that I grafted 10 different varieties not too long ago, and unfortunately all 10 failed, so I'm 0 for 10 on this. But the good news is, when I did those grafts, I cut all the branches off to do the grafts, but look at this is all brand new growth, all this branches and leaves. So what I'm gonna do is maybe February, March, I'll try it again, and this tree should be much bigger then. So I'm gonna redo the grafts on this tree, but the bright side is this tree is growing. So but the bad news is all 10 grafts failed, unfortunately. Hopefully I'll do better next time. Now here's the Mexicola. Now this Mexicola, I purposely planted under this tree because I planted this Mexicola during the beginning of the summer. I knew it was going to get hot, and so it gets a lot of shade. But look at this leader of the tree. Look at this branch. It just skyrockets to the opening there. So it's amazing what an avocado tree will do to get some sun. So that branch is much taller than all the other branches. So you know, as you can see, it's nice and green. So what I'm gonna do probably this weekend is cut some of those branches off of the other trees, so to give this Mexicola a lot more sun, and I think it'll start growing more vigorously. But this Mexicola is doing quite well. It's nice and green. Now here's Arvin's Hass avocado tree, and as you can see, it's getting really tall. It's just growing taller every day. And I did do some grafts on this, and this is a reed avocado graft I did not too long ago. And here what I did a little different technique. I wrapped the bottom with grafting tape and I covered it with plastic bag. Let's see, I'm going to see how that does versus the conventional way of just using grafting tape to cover everything. Now here's another graft I did, and this is the conventional way. I just covered the entire sandwood with grafting tape, and that's looking good. We'll see how that does. Now here's another graft I did, and it's still looking green and great. So hopefully this takes shortly, but this is still looking really good. And this is the most recent graft I did on this tree about 2 weeks ago. So it has some time I have to still wait, but it's looking really green, and hopefully it takes. We'll see. Now I do have one bad news. I had this Fuerte graft I did about a month ago, and it's dead. So I'm probably going to just cut this off and try again later. But that did not do well. But this Arvin Hass avocado tree is getting really tall. Now here's my Fuerte avocado tree, and as you can see I have a lot of leaves down there as mulch, and this Fuerte is just growing taller and taller every day. Look how tall that is, and it's just growing, and it did very well during the summer. I was a little bit worried during the heat wave, but look how green the leaves are. It's flushing out new growth to the side. It's growing tall. So this Fuerte is looking really good. Hopefully it'll produce some nice avocados next year, but this is looking really good. Now here's a Hass avocado that I planted in the ground, and I also grafted in the ball about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and this is still green, looking good. Hopefully it takes shortly, but this Hass avocado is growing quite vigorously. It's growing in the sides, and it's getting taller. And this was a small tree when I planted in the ground, so this is actually it actually grew a lot from when I planted it a few months ago. Now here's the bacon avocado tree. Now this tree took some damage during the heat wave, and the top of it got burnt, and I had to cut it off. But look at this, it's all green, it's flushing out new growth. You can't even tell that it went through such hardship during the heat wave now. It's just growing pretty well, and I'm happy with that. Now here's my underperforming reed avocado tree, and I planted this when it was very young, and although I whitewashed it, it took a beating in the sun. As you can see in the trunk there, it's just scarred up, and that's just sun damage. And this tree did not grow very well. I mean, although it's flushing out some new growth on top, it's really not growing very well. So I might just take this out of the ground and maybe put it in a 15-gallon. But this is not doing that great. But it's still alive. It's still green, and it's still flushing out new growth. Well, thank you for watching. If you like this video, please press the like, subscribe, and share. Cheers!